Have you ever looked at your plate and thought, I'm doing everything right? More vegetables, fewer sweets, cleaner meals. Yet your body feels heavier, more tired, less alive than it did a few years ago. Let me ask you something uncomfortable but important. What if the very foods you trust to keep you healthy are quietly damaging one of the most vital organs you have, without causing pain, without setting off alarms, without giving you a second chance to fix it? Here's the hard truth most people never hear. Your kidneys don't scream when they're in trouble. They don't ache. They don't warn you early. They just keep working, silently, until one day they can't anymore. In fact, you can lose up to 90% of your kidney function before a single clear symptom ever appears. By the time swelling, fatigue, or abnormal labs show up, the damage may already be advanced, sometimes irreversible. And here's where this becomes truly alarming. Millions of Americans are unknowingly accelerating that damage every single day. Not with soda, not with fast food, but with foods labeled clean, plant-based, and heart-healthy, vegetables, smoothies, so-called superfoods, foods praised on blogs, social media, and wellness programs that your kidneys may no longer be able to handle. I'm Dr. Richard Hale, and I see this pattern over and over again in real patients who believed they were protecting their health only to discover they were overloading their kidneys in silence. In this video, I'm going to show you which vegetables can quietly sabotage your kidneys, and just as importantly, which ones can actually help protect and support them. By the end, you'll know how to build meals that nourish your body without pushing your kidneys toward failure. Because when it comes to kidney health, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. At first glance, tomatoes seem harmless, bright fresh, packed with antioxidants. Most people associate them with heart health, Mediterranean diets, and longevity. But the problem isn't the tomato itself. The danger begins when we concentrate it. When tomatoes are turned into paste, sauce, ketchup, or juice, they stop behaving like a vegetable and start acting like a biological load your kidneys may no longer tolerate. I want to tell you about Robert, a 59-year-old retired engineer. He proudly cooked at home, avoided processed food, and made his own tomato sauce every weekend. Olive oil, herbs, no preservatives. He believed he was doing everything right. Then his routine blood work showed something alarming: dangerously elevated potassium. He felt weak, lightheaded, and short of breath. An ECG revealed early rhythm disturbances. The cause wasn't junk food, it was his healthy homemade sauce. Here's the science behind it. 1 cup of tomato sauce can contain 900 to 1,000 milligrams of potassium. For someone with reduced kidney function, that's nearly half the daily safe limit in a single serving. When potassium accumulates faster than the kidneys can remove it, it interferes with the heart's electrical signals silently without pain until it becomes life-threatening. The solution isn't fear, it's precision. Smaller portions, fresh diced tomatoes instead of concentrated sauces, herbs for flavor instead of volume. Robert made those changes and his potassium normalized within weeks. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next food is even more deceptive. It feels comforting, traditional, and safe. Yet it overwhelms the kidneys faster than most people ever realize. If tomato sauce is dangerous because it's concentrated, the next food is even more deceptive because it feels warm, familiar, and harmless. Potatoes, mashed, baked, roasted, or fried, they sit at the center of family dinners, holidays, and comfort meals. No warning labels, no bad reputation. And that's exactly why they catch so many people off guard. Linda was a 64-year-old grandmother who truly believed she was eating clean. She cut sugar, avoided junk food, and filled her plate with vegetables. One holiday meal, she helped herself to mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, and roasted potatoes, thinking she was making the healthiest choice at the table. Within hours, she felt weak, dizzy, and short of breath. By that night, she was in the emergency room with a dangerously unstable heart rhythm. Here's what most people are never told. 1 medium baked potato can contain up to 1,000 milligrams of potassium. Sweet potatoes can contain even more. For kidneys that are already slowing down due to age, blood pressure, or early kidney disease, that potassium doesn't clear fast enough. It builds up silently, like water rising behind a dam, until suddenly the system fails. The solution isn't to panic, it's strategy. Potatoes can be leached by peeling, soaking, and boiling to remove up to 70% of their potassium. Portions must stay small, And mixing multiple potato dishes in one meal is a mistake Linda will never make again. But knowing this still isn't enough because there's a fitness food coming next that fools even young healthy people. And it can injure the kidneys from the inside out. If potatoes overwhelm the kidneys through comfort and tradition, the next food is dangerous for a very different reason. It disguises itself as performance energy and health. Beets, especially beet juice, bright red, trendy, and praised across fitness blogs for boosting circulation and lowering blood pressure. It looks like the perfect upgrade for a clean lifestyle. But what helps blood flow can quietly injure the kidneys. David was a 48-year-old fitness enthusiast who believed beet juice was his secret weapon. Every morning before workouts, he drank a large glass, convinced it was improving endurance and recovery. For a few weeks it worked. Then came the warning signs: dull lower back pain, fatigue, and cloudy urine. Blood tests revealed severe kidney inflammation. A scan showed oxalate crystals clogging his kidneys. The diagnosis was acute oxalate nephropathy, kidney injury triggered by excessive beet intake. Here's the science most people never hear. Beets are high in potassium, but the real danger lies in oxalates. Just one glass of beet juice can contain 450 to 600 milligrams of potassium, and beet juice concentrates oxalates dramatically. Oxalates bind with calcium to form microscopic, needle-like crystals that lodge inside kidney tissue, causing inflammation, blockage, and sudden loss of filtration. The solution is moderation in form. Whole beets in small portions are far safer than juices or powders. Pairing them with calcium-rich foods can reduce absorption. But beet shots, powders, and daily juices are not detox tools, they are overloads. And only knowing this still isn't enough, because the next vegetable doesn't harm slowly or quietly. It can push the kidneys into crisis almost overnight, and most people never see it coming. If beet juice injures the kidneys quietly over weeks, the next vegetable is far more ruthless, because it doesn't need time. It can strike fast, hard, and without warning. Rhubarb, sweet, tart, colorful, and often baked into pies, jams, and desserts that feel harmless and nostalgic. But for the kidneys, rhubarb is one of the most dangerous plants you can eat once kidney function is even slightly reduced. Sarah was a 56-year-old teacher who loved baking. During one spring weekend, she attended several family gatherings, each one featuring her famous rhubarb dessert. By Monday morning, she was doubled over in pain, nauseous, and barely urinating. At the hospital, doctors discovered her kidney function had collapsed. Microscopic crystals were blocking her nephrons. The diagnosis was acute oxalate nephropathy, a sudden kidney injury that nearly sent her into permanent dialysis. Here's why rhubarb is different. 1 cup of diced rhubarb can contain over 1,000 milligrams of oxalates, more than 20 times what sensitive kidneys can safely process in a day. When oxalates flood the bloodstream, they bind with calcium and form sharp crystals that clog and slice through kidney tissue. Cooking doesn't destroy oxalates. In fact, it often concentrates them further. The solution is simple but strict. For anyone with kidney disease, high creatinine, or a history of stones, rhubarb isn't a limited food, it's a no-go food. Safer substitutes like berries or apples provide the same tart flavor without the danger. But knowing this still isn't enough, because the next vegetable looks green, clean, and virtuous, yet it attacks the kidneys from 2 directions at once. If rhubarb is a sudden shock to the kidneys, the next vegetable is more deceptive because it looks like the definition of clean eating. Swiss chard, deep green leaves, colorful stems praised in plant-based diets and wellness programs as a supergreen. Many people choose it specifically because they want to protect their heart. What they don't realize is that Swiss chard can quietly overload the kidneys from 2 directions at the same time. Michael was a 62-year-old retiree who switched to a plant-focused diet after a cholesterol warning. He sautéed Swiss chard with olive oil, almost daily, convinced he was doing his body a favor. 2 months later, his labs told a different story. His potassium levels had climbed dangerously high, and imaging revealed his first kidney stone. The vegetable he trusted most was quietly working against him. Here's the science that rarely gets explained. 1 cup of cooked Swiss chard can contain close to 1,000 milligrams of potassium, similar to a baked potato. At the same time, it's loaded with oxalates compounds that bind with calcium to form crystals inside the kidneys. Potassium stresses the heart's electrical system, while oxalates damage kidney tissue and block urine flow. When both rise together, weakened kidneys are forced to fight on two fronts. The solution isn't elimination, it's rotation. Swiss chard should never be a daily staple for anyone with kidney concerns. Boiling can reduce some oxalates, but potassium remains high. Safer greens like cabbage or lettuce provide volume without overload. But even this isn't the most dangerous green, because the next one is so common, so praised, and so often blended into smoothies that most people consume it in doses their kidneys were never meant to handle. If Swiss chard is a double threat, spinach is the silent assassin. It wears the cleanest image of all: low-calorie, nutrient-dense, the king of green smoothies. It's recommended everywhere from wellness challenges to detox plans, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous for the kidneys when consumed the wrong way. Jennifer was a 34-year-old yoga instructor who believed deeply in clean living. Every morning for 6 weeks, she blended large handfuls of raw spinach into her smoothie. Organic, fresh, green. At first, she felt incredible. Then the fatigue set in, nausea, a dull ache in her lower back. Her lab showed a frightening reality. Her kidneys were inflamed and clogged with oxalate crystals. She was diagnosed with acute oxalate nephropathy and narrowly avoided temporary dialysis. Here's the science people rarely hear. Spinach is one of the highest oxalate foods on the planet. Just 100 grams of raw spinach contains around 170 milligrams of oxalates. When you blend it, you're not eating one serving, you're drinking 3 or 4 at once. That can mean over 2,000 milligrams of oxalates flooding the kidneys in minutes. These compounds bind with calcium, forming sharp crystals that lodge inside kidney tubules, damaging filtration and triggering stones or sudden kidney injury. Cooking reduces some oxalates, but not enough to make large amounts safe. The solution is diversity. Rotate greens, choose lower oxalate options, and never assume green automatically means gentle on your kidneys. But here's the turning point. After seeing how much damage the wrong vegetables can cause, you might be wondering if there's anything left you can safely eat. And the answer is yes. In fact, the next vegetables don't harm the kidneys at all, they help them recover. After hearing about so many vegetables that quietly damage the kidneys, it's normal to feel uneasy. Many people reach this point and think, so what's left? Do I have to fear every plate of food? And this is where the story finally changes, because not all vegetables are enemies. Some don't just avoid harm, they actively give your kidneys a break. One of the best examples is cauliflower. Cauliflower doesn't look impressive, it isn't trendy, it doesn't show up in detox ads or smoothie challenges, but medically speaking, it's one of the most kidney-friendly vegetables you can eat. Margaret, a 67-year-old patient of mine, came in, convinced dialysis was around the corner. Her creatinine was creeping up, her legs were swelling, and she felt exhausted every morning. One simple change made a difference. We replaced her nightly mashed potatoes with mashed cauliflower, seasoned with garlic and olive oil. 6 weeks later, her potassium stabilized, her swelling improved, and for the first time in years, she told me she woke up feeling lighter. Here's why this works. 1 cup of cooked cauliflower contains only about 88 milligrams of potassium and is naturally low in phosphorus and oxalates. That means your kidneys can process it without strain. Even better, cauliflower belongs to the cruciferous family and contains compounds like sulforaphane, which help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, 2 major drivers of kidney damage. Cauliflower doesn't heal by force, it heals by relief. It gives your kidneys space to recover. But only knowing this isn't enough, because there's another vegetable that not only protects the kidneys, it also shields your heart and blood vessels at the same time. After cauliflower shows us how relief can heal the kidneys, the next vegetable takes protection one step further, because it doesn't just help your kidneys, it also defends your heart and blood vessels. And that matters more than most people realize. Red bell peppers. Bright sweet and often overlooked as just a garnish, they are quietly one of the smartest choices you can make for kidney health. George was a 61-year-old man with stage 3 chronic kidney disease and long-standing high blood pressure. For years, he flavored his meals with tomato sauce, believing it was healthy. When we replaced that habit with diced and roasted red bell peppers in soups, stir-fries, and sauces, something unexpected happened. His potassium levels stabilized, his blood pressure dropped by nearly 10 points, and he told me something simple but powerful: I finally don't feel heavy after eating. Here's why red bell peppers work so well. 1 cup contains only about 250 milligrams of potassium, far lower than tomatoes or potatoes, yet it delivers over 150% of your daily vitamin C. They're also rich in carotenoids and flavonoids that fight oxidative stress, protecting blood vessels and improving circulation. And when blood vessels stay healthy, your kidneys don't have to fight against high pressure to filter your blood. Red bell peppers add flavor without sodium color, without overload, and nutrition without strain. Raw, roasted, or blended into sauces, they're proof that eating for kidney health doesn't have to feel restrictive. But knowing this still isn't enough, because the next food is even smaller, often ignored, and incredibly powerful. It doesn't just protect the kidneys. It actively calms the inflammation that drives kidney damage from the inside out. After red bell peppers show how food can protect both the kidneys and the heart, the next ingredient works on a deeper, quieter level. It doesn't look impressive, it isn't colorful, and most people think of it as nothing more than flavor. Garlic. Yet medically speaking, garlic is one of the most powerful kidney protective foods sitting in your kitchen. Patricia was a 60-year-old woman with stage 3 kidney disease and stubborn high blood pressure. Even with medication, her numbers stayed high and her inflammation markers continued to rise. Instead of adding another drug, we made one simple change. She began adding 2 crushed cloves of fresh garlic to her meals each day, letting them sit for about 10 minutes before cooking. 3 months later, her blood pressure dropped significantly, her inflammation markers improved, and her kidney labs stabilized without changing her prescriptions. Here's why garlic works. When garlic is crushed, it releases allicin, a sulfur-based compound with powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects. Studies show garlic can lower systolic blood pressure by 8 to 15 points, reduce oxidative stress, and improve blood vessel flexibility. That matters because high pressure and inflammation are 2 of the biggest forces slowly destroying kidney filtration units known as nephrons. Garlic also delivers flavor without sodium, which means your kidneys don't have to deal with the fluid retention and pressure spikes caused by salt. Every clove becomes a quiet act of protection, but only knowing this still isn't enough because the final vegetable doesn't just protect the kidneys from damage, it actually helps train them to defend themselves, activating a built-in cellular shield that most people have never heard of. After garlic shows how food can calm inflammation and lower pressure quietly over time, the final vegetable works on an even deeper level. It doesn't just protect your kidneys from damage, it helps them activate their own defense system. That vegetable is cabbage. Plain, inexpensive, often ignored. Yet biologically, it's one of the smartest foods you can eat for long-term kidney survival. I remember George, a long-term patient dealing with early kidney decline and chronic inflammation. He didn't want supplements. He didn't want extreme diets. We made one simple addition instead: small servings of steamed cabbage, 3 times a week, often cooked with garlic and olive oil. Within a few months, his inflammation markers dropped. His energy improved and his eGFR, a key measure of kidney function, began to stabilize. He looked at me and said, "I didn't expect something this simple to make such a difference." Here's why cabbage matters. Cabbage belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family and contains compounds like sulforaphane, which activate a powerful internal pathway known as NRF2. Think of NRF2 as your body's built-in repair switch. When it turns on, your cells produce their own antioxidants and detox enzymes, helping neutralize oxidative stress before it damages kidney tissue. At the same time, cabbage is naturally low in potassium, phosphorus, sodium, and oxalates, exactly what stressed kidneys need. Cabbage doesn't force healing, it supports resilience. It teaches your kidneys how to protect themselves. But only knowing which vegetables help and which ones harm isn't the full story, because there's still one dangerous myth we need to break: a belief that has pushed millions of people toward kidney damage while thinking they were detoxing. Before you leave, I want you to take a breath for a moment. If parts of this video made you uncomfortable, that's not a bad thing. It means you're paying attention. Kidney damage doesn't happen overnight, and protecting your kidneys doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness, consistency, and small decisions made over time. And the fact that you stayed until this point tells me you care about your health, and that already puts you ahead of where you were yesterday. You don't need extreme cleanses. You don't need fear-based diets. What your kidneys truly need is relief. Fewer overloads, smarter choices. Simple swaps that reduce strain instead of adding it. Start small. Replace one risky food with a safer one. Rotate your vegetables. Respect portions. And remember, your kidneys are working for you every single second, even when you don't feel it. The least we can do is work with them, not against them. If this information helped you see your food choices differently, do your future self a favor and save this video. Come back to it when you're standing in the kitchen planning a meal or feeling unsure about what's healthy for your kidneys. And if you want to keep learning how to protect your kidney function with real science-based guidance, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week I share clear, practical medical insights designed to help you stay off dialysis and live stronger for longer. I care deeply about the people watching this. If you recognize yourself in any of these examples, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not powerless. Kidney decline can slow. In many cases, it can stabilize. And sometimes with the right support, it can even improve. Your kidneys may be silent, but they are always listening. Treat them with care and they will carry you forward for years to come. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. And I'll see you in the next video.